All right. I think we are live.
Woo!
Yay. So, hi, everyone. And hello, Nicole Lee from Nicole Lee Healing. It's so amazing to have you here, Nicole. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's really exciting to be here.
Yes, I'm really excited for this conversation. And so just to let you know, Nicole, well, you already know a little bit, but each Sunday, usually in our members group, we do self-care Sundays. So we just talk all different kinds of things, depending on the week. And it's just a really lovely way for us to reset, and then we connect with the members in our group. So I invited you on today, and so we've actually opened it up. I was having some issue. I actually tried earlier, and there was a few technical things broadcasting live onto the group because it's a private group. So anyway, it's good. So everyone gets to enjoy this interview with you. So
Beautiful.
yeah, I'm really excited to dive in. Nicole, we're friends, and I love what you do. But would you mind just telling everyone who's joining, and if you are joining, say, please pop on and say hello so we know that you're here. And if you've got any questions as we go along, just type them in. There's a bit of a delay where we can see them, but we will definitely get to them. So sorry. Yes, take it away, Nicole.
Sure. So I work in the energy healing teaching space. It's been something that has been a lifelong passion for me. And I've always been highly, highly sensitive and intuitive, but always thought it was normal. It was what everyone was. And I truly do believe that we are. It's just how much we remember and actually consciously access that. But I started off life in the corporate world and, working in leadership development, helping people find themselves in a more business type space until it was through COVID, actually, I just had that really deep calling to follow my passion and really do what I love. So I started up Nicole Lee Healing, which is really a sacred space where I offer healings, I do group sessions, one-on-one sessions, and make sacred tools to really help people find the divine within, work with energy in a really conscious way, and help navigate the craziness of life that we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky because I've kind of done a bit of everything. I've had a one-on-one healing with you, and I joined your with Selfcare circle was that last week or two?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago actually now. Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
yeah.
And then I also have some of your beautiful products as well. I love this one. This is the Protect spray.
Oh, yes. It's a goodie. Yeah.
So I really love what you do, and I thought, so we're doing this challenge at the moment, and it's all about strength and resilience. And so a big part of what we're doing at the moment is really, at the studio, we're building physical resilience in the body with exercise and yoga. Of course, we've got more of the mental aspect as well with some meditation, and some people are doing challenging themselves to meditate every day at home, which is amazing. And so I thought, I know you did a brilliant project on resilience.
Yes.
And also I think the work that you're doing with energy is really important as well, and really ties in. So I was like, yes, this is going to be amazing. So I think everyone's going to really learn a lot. You know what I was thinking? I didn't keep this on a list of questions.
Go for it.
Just talking about energy.
Yeah.
How do you define energy?
Yeah, it's a really good question, right? Because I think a lot of people struggle with it and how it fits into their life and how can I ground that in a practical everyday sense,
Hmm.
right? Because I grew up in a very fact-based world where it was about what you see, what you touch, rather than the invisible. So it took a long time for me to really unlearn all that. So energy is the really subtle world that we work in. It's where all our intuitive hits comes from. We are energetic beings, so even though we're flesh and blood and bone and dense matter, we actually carry several different energy fields around us, and so we can't help but interact with the energy that's around us. And unless we're really aware and conscious of the space we hold, of the, I like to call it our energetic home base. If we don't know what that signature is, then we're not sure whether or not we are being bombarded by other people's feelings and thoughts and stresses, and it can pollute our world, and suddenly we feel like we're having a really hard day when a lot of it isn't even ours to begin with. So energy is around working with the subtle forces. It's around understanding that we're much more than just what we can feel, see, and touch. And you can normally find it by just, that's, I think, why meditation, mindfulness is such a powerful tool and a big thing. And yoga, right? It's because it's getting us out of our head, out of the mental space, and back into our body and back in touch with what our home base energy is. And that's where you really can access the truth within you. And I think, honestly, any challenge you've got, if you can get into that calm space, the answers and the inspiration usually come from that place, including resilience.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's a really beautiful way to put it, because I suppose in yoga, like we tend to think of the like chakras.
Yes.
And that's kind of my knowledge of it. But I think it's no, sorry, what were you going to say, Nicole?
Oh no, I was just going to say, the chakras are really important because they're like big portals. They're the big energy centers where we're actually filtering the information, we're filtering the energy, we're filtering the thoughts and the feelings and emotions from the world that's interacting with us. And if our chakras are blocked, if they're congested, if there's things going on in those spots, that can really drain our energy, which, relates a lot to whether or not we can, even in the storm, hold our center, hold our real anchor and still be calm amongst the chaos. So the chakras are really important. We've got, as you know, the big 7, but there's lots and lots throughout the body. So, when you move your body, particularly in yoga, when you do it with such mindfulness and consciousness, you can actually even ask, as you're doing something, I set the intention to clear my energy centers, just to clear and clean. And you'll find that you have more energy afterwards because of that.
Yeah, well, I definitely feel that you think doing, exercise or moving your body that you would be using energy, but I totally agree. You do definitely feel energized afterwards.
Yeah.
So Nicole, kind of just from that, you kind of were talking about depleting energy and the home base. So what are some things that we can do? I don't know if you would call them self-care practices or just practices in general to look after our energy, or does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to think of it as being in alignment, or when you're knocked out of alignment. And I know when I'm knocked out of alignment, I feel stressed, I'm in my head, I'm worrying, I feel like there's no time in the day, that I have this full list of things to do. I'm constantly pouring out, giving out my time, attention, energy to others, and feel completely drained and exhausted by the end of the day. So when you feel that you're in a bit of a wobble, whatever that looks like, I tend to just start with something really simple by just coming back and checking on yourself throughout the day. Like, where am I? Like, am I in my head right now? And how can I get back into my body? And it can be something as simple as, I think everyone's so unique in what speaks to them and works for them. So for some, it's movement. For others, it's go outside in nature and really ground and just be with the trees and the grass and get away from the screen, whatever that looks like. It could be, eat some food that's really nourishing for your body. Or for me, sometimes it's even go have a shower, because it just really cleans both inside and out for me. It's just a great way to purify and cleanse my field, because as soon as that gets clouded and busy, then I can't see straight, I can't think straight, and I become much more reactive than how I normally am, if that helps.
Yeah. So do you meditate, Nicole?
So I do a mixture, because I do sit down to meditate, but I'm not one that will be like, okay, I'm doing this an hour a day. And, that doesn't work so much for me. My meditation normally happens when I'm walking in nature.
Yeah.
Or when I'm sitting down drawing, it's like, it's more of an active style, if that makes sense. But I do actually meditate as well. Yeah. But I noticed a long time ago, I used to judge myself. I used to put this, I have to meditate. And then I became really strict with myself. And then I became very disappointed with myself when I couldn't have the discipline to do it. So I've just learned to be a lot more flexible and gentle, and just work with what works for me, if that makes sense. But for me, it's nature. Absolutely. And walking in nature. I think the most important thing is just creating space, rather than being so prescriptive over, is it meditation, the proper technical one, or is it just space for you to find creativity, to find inspiration, and just to refuel your tank? Because I think a lot of us are so used to giving that being exhausted and depleted becomes such a natural state that we don't notice that we don't have much left in the tank. And then we use things like coffee or sugar, or we reach for the quick fixes, and that's fine. I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I'm just, I suppose, relaying the story I've been through, particularly when I worked in the corporate world. When I stepped away from my job, I didn't appreciate that all the workshops, everything I did, plus trying to be a mum to a young boy, it took, I think, a good 12 months for me to actually really come back and find myself and go, wow, this is what it feels like to just be centered again, Yeah,
I think that's really interesting. I think a lot of people, don't know what it feels like to feel centered, and we spend a lot of time being really busy. And so that's so important. And I really like what you just said about not forcing yourself to meditate, because a lot of the times we are our own harshest critics. And sometimes I put my clock on for 20 minutes, and it's the longest 20 minutes of my life, and I think I can't stop thinking, and then I'm getting angry at myself, going, stop thinking.
Exactly. And yes.
It ends up, whereas if I had have maybe just gone outside and, sat outside and played with the dogs, or gone for a walk, I might have had a bit of a clearer head. But I was I've got to do the meditation.
Yes, so we get so focused, right? So rigid. Yeah.
And that's what thing that I put on the not the Instagram, I'm sure, on an Instagram, the grace over guilt. I think really, it comes back to that. It's like, let's just be kind to ourselves and do what we can. And I love the nature. Well, we had our mushrooming, the foraging tours, and that's what a lot of people really, of course, they love learning about mushrooms, and you get to pick the mushrooms and then take them home and eat them. But I think what people really love is actually just having 1.5 hours just out in the pine forest, whether it's just like that different, that quiet.
And that's I'm so glad you said that, because that's alignment. If
Yeah.
somebody is unsure of what does that alignment feel like when you're fully anchored and grounded, go and spend some time in nature, in the quiet, and you'll just find your body just automatically vibrationally shifts to match it. And when you can feel that in your body, that gives you a benchmark, right, to then I think the biggest, to notice when you're out. And I think for me, living in Newham, right, living in rural Victoria, as soon as I go into Melbourne, I can feel the busyness of life, and as I drive out, it's like, that alignment comes back in.
Yeah,
that. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Just to shift gears ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Meg. Sorry, Meg, I think popped the hello on for ages. Hi, Meg. Let us know if you've got any quick. There's a couple of other people watching as well. Hi, guys, if you're watching live. So I'm loving this, and I think it will kind of be along the same kind of vein. But so I don't know, how long ago was it when you created the Resilience Project? Or the resilience movement, sorry, that's what it's not, it's the movement, not the project. So
good question. I think that would be 2 years ago now. And that was born out of, working with lots of different people across, Australia and Asia, and just seeing burnout, seeing people not enjoying their lives and just feeling stuck and showing up with not much left. And I thought, there's more to life than this, right? And I've seen resilience programs that are very, head-based or very body-based, but I felt very strongly, we needed that, a holistic view would be, really powerful for people to align mind, body, and spirit, and really intertwine. And so that was the birthplace of the resilience movement.
Yeah. So from that, so I kind of was part of that. I talked about movement and did some stuff on breathing, and it was, I loved it. So what I suppose from doing all the interviews and doing all the research, and then I suppose having that applied to people, and then speaking to them and having their feedback and your what were the biggest things, I suppose, that came out of that, out of the movement, out of the project for you, that you think would be helpful for
others, for those listening,
or even for you, which is going to be helpful for us as well.
Yeah, for sure. What I really loved was everything came back to there was such a shift and focus on our head that we disconnected from our body. And whenever we spent time in our head, that's when we seem to be wobbled the most. That's when we get stressed. That's when our resilience is low, I suppose, for want of a better word. And so what was coming through is just connecting back into the body, moving your focus from your head. So, disconnecting from the habitual thought patterns of, I don't have enough time, I'm never going to get this done, I've got all this stuff to do, the stress that we kind of overlay those thoughts. So having a look at our habitual thoughts, and a lot of them are unconscious thoughts, and underneath that then sits our belief system, which is so for example, as a mother, I had a belief system that I've got to do this on my own, and I didn't appreciate that I was setting up a world that was quite harsh for me, because people wanted to help, but I felt guilty accepting their help, to say, actually, that'd be great if you could do dinner tonight. That would really help me out. I felt like I was failing if I'd asked for that. So it's looking at those patterns, just even setting the intention to become aware of the inner judge, the critic, what that looks like, what are the beliefs underneath that keep driving those patterns. And then how can we disconnect from that? And it's as simple as distracting ourselves or putting on music or, we were talking about the alignment stuff before, going out in nature, taking a break, breathing exercises, moving the body, things like that. Something that came through right at the end, which was all around how do we integrate even that as a learning, right? If you want to create a new habit, I want to really bring through well-being and solid resilience in my life. How do I do that? It's start with micro habits. So don't go big, don't have this huge vision, because we inevitably set ourselves up and set resistance in place because it disconnects our brain. And without going into the neuroscience stuff, it basically, we don't feel safe, things aren't familiar, and we kind of put all these roadblocks in place. So it's around really small habits a day. So, whether or not that's something like, I'm going to have water as soon as I wake up in the morning. I'm going to keep hydrated, because if I'm hydrated, I know that my body functions better. Just small stuff like that, or eating breakfast, or going for my morning walk, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, totally. So I suppose that's kind of like that 1% idea, that if you just do 1% at a time, it compounds, and then before you know it, whereas if you try and go from like 0 to 50 or 0 to 100, your body's going to say, hang on, I don't really, those subconscious beliefs are going to push everything away.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like I was talking to my brother today, and he was talking about driving on the freeway in America, and he said, people just move in front of you in the lanes, and you're just like, oh my God. He said, so when you drive, you got to drive unapologetically. If you change lanes, it is just commit and go, it's no hesitation. And it's the same, right? If you have an intention or a vision in place, you just commit, like full commitment and intention, and just really hold that space, rather than, I really want to build this in my life. It's really reclaiming that power that we have to create our reality that supercharges that 1%.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Yep. That's, I totally, but I think, we are creating our reality.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, if we're, like, I'm 40, so I've got all those years of beliefs and that come from everyone else, that it's not just like we can switch those off. So yeah, I love that idea, starting small, but then really committing, and just there's this mantra or saying that I really like, and it's my I can't remember where it comes from. It's my time and I'm ready for the next step, or it's my time and I'm ready to shine. And it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be huge, but doing the little bits, it's still your time. That can be your that can be there every day, I think. So
yeah, absolutely. And with that, sorry, Leanne, what popped in is, I think it's really important, to keep yourself on track by not comparing your journey to anyone else's, because we are unique beings, and where we are is the perfect place we need to be. Always. And even in the storm, right? We get the wisdom normally after the chaos, but it's just holding faith and finding whatever gets you through that day, that lifts you up, finding those moments of joy to just keep going, and having that belief that everything will work out in the end, and not feeling like, oh, but they're doing something similar to me, and like they're over here now, because we can't compare ourselves. And I feel like that automatically drains our energy and sucks our life force when we do that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. What do they call it? Comparisonitis.
Yes. Yeah, right. Like I do, like when I was a teenager growing up, my body, I was, constantly comparing that to other women, and I was always, creating this awful loop and eroding my self-confidence through that,
Yeah, I think that's something that just, starts from a young age and continues on. And I think, we need to definitely be aware of it. And I think it always, for me personally, it just always comes up, but now I'm really aware of it, and I'm like, oh, actually, I think now I can pick it up straight away when I'm starting to really feel, and I think, okay, we'll just, take a step back, stop looking at this person's work or at this person, what they're doing, and just, just come back. And I think that's the awareness is pretty key, because I don't know, but for me, I'm yet to find that I feel like probably the older we get, the less.
Yes.
I think, and maybe we're just more aware, becoming a bit more wiser. But yeah, I totally love that. Gosh, this has gone so fast. It's already almost 4:30.
Yes.
So I suppose what from your experience and your life, if you just really had to share 3 top tips for managing health and well-being, what would be your 3 top tips, Nicole?
My first one is listen to your body, because there's so much wisdom in how our body speaks to us, and really honor the natural cycle of your body. So, just like nature, there's times when we need to rest, giving yourself permission to rest. That's been a big one in my life, like I just feel like I've had to go. And a lot of that came through, again, not wanting to, invite support in, allow that. So listening to your body and honoring the rest, and the cycles, the ebbs and flows. I really feel movement of any type really helps. When I worked in the conflict coaching space and there was something gnarly to work through, we would do the conversation with the person coaching walking, because it moves the energy in your body. You're not sitting, you're not stagnant, it's not stuck. So moving, however you can create space for that. And then allowing yourself to have time for inspiration and creativity, and something that is not around achieving, something that is just around filling your tank, whatever that looks like.
I love that. That's my big one at the moment. Yeah, not taking time out to not try and achieve something, just to do it because it's fun, or I like it, or I'm gonna rest.
Yes.
I find that's really hard. I find it really hard, actually. And I think lots of people do. It's like, oh, well, I'm not being productive right now. This is a waste of time. And then feeling guilty. And then so, yeah, I think they're amazing tips. I love them. I think, yeah, that's it. If we just did that, yeah, we'd be a lot happier and healthier. And yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think, like, sorry, I was just about to say, like, for me, my overall that has shifted my entire life was trusting my own inner guidance, which I think comes down to listening to your body as well, right? Yeah. And just that example you gave before was of you wanting to do something from the heart, intuitively, and then the head jumping in and going, well, no, that doesn't equal something that's valuable, da 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 da. And so we do that dance. So it's like, how can we turn that down and then turn up our intuition and our guidance and just trust that, because that is the path to joy. That's the path to resilience and, radiant life, really.
Radiant life. Yes. That's beautiful. Well, that's what I was just going to say. Was there any like final words of wisdom? That was probably a pretty good one. Unless was there anything else, Nicole?
Just be gentle, I suppose. Following that, just be, like you mentioned it before, grace over guilt. Just be gentle with yourself and your journey, and just trust that you're in the best place where you're at, and it will always be that way, even if it doesn't feel like that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And just finally, Nicole, you're running, can you just tell us about some of the things that are happening with some of the events or things that you're offering at the moment, and we can maybe put some links down in the comments or somewhere else so people can find them as well. Yeah, can you just share just a little bit about that? What your circles and...
Yeah, for sure. So I just announced today, actually, that at the end of this month, for those that live in the region in Macedon Ranges, I'm going to be doing a 2-day in-person retreat, which is all around awakening the divine mothers within. So it's working with goddess energy, it's working with the divine feminine energy, and really that's around unlocking all those deep intuitive gifts we have within us, and looking at what energetically drains us, how can we replenish that, and putting in place new habits. So that's at the end of the month on the 29th and 30th. And then every month around the full moon, I host a self-care circle, which goes for an hour, usually, roughly. And that's channeled guidance. I think this month it's all around nourishment and what nourishes us, and how to put healthy boundaries in place to respect that, as well as discerning what serves us versus what doesn't serve us, and the choices we make in that space. And that's happening, I think, at 5 o'clock on the 30th. And then the next one in June will be on manifesting. How do we manifest our desires and intentions? So they're the 2 big events that I've got running, at the moment. Yeah.
They sound amazing. Well, I went to the circle the other week and I loved it. Yeah, the 2-day thing sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That one sounds
I know. It came through the other day. I got really excited. I'm like, that's it. Let's do it.
beautiful. Oh, love it. Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for sharing your amazing wisdom and your time with us today. I so appreciate it. And I've found today really helpful for me. So thank you. And I hope everyone else watching, who's watching live, and I know there will be a few people watching back on the replay later because they're doing stuff for Mother's Day this afternoon. So I should say happy Mother's Day to you, Nicole, and happy Mother's
everyone
Day.
listening. Yeah, and you too. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, Nicole. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone else. And thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, Nicole.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.